We're live.
We're live.
We're live. First YouTube. Let's
Whew.
do this. It's been a while since we said, or I said I was going to do YouTube. I just needed you to get on board.
True. She did. She just was like, hey, finish the basement, build a little studio.
And let's do this YouTube thing.
Yeah, I'm like,
I think you did a pretty good job. I just love that our sign from the wedding is here and it looks great. Like, hello studio, hello YouTube. We're ready to go. Oh my gosh, you did a really good job. I'm so excited for this. So, first episode, birth story of our little Anaya over here. I feel like for me, I really want to make sure we share it just raw. Like, what happened? I want it to be really
Let's not like get too raw. We're not breaking out the birth video or anything.
Oh, trust me, no one wants to see that.
Let's talk through it. Let's talk through it.
Let's really talk through it. All right, so yeah, I'll just start like right at the beginning and we'll
honestly,
go from there.
she's gonna run with it because it's really her birth story.
But
I was
you're
just
a big
there,
part
like
of
I'm
it.
just a part. Yeah, I'm
You're
like
a big
the
part of
you
it.
know.
I think that it's really important, especially being the supporter in such a situation where we're so unsure. You know what I mean? So yeah, you're a part of it. Give yourself some props there. I did all the pushing.
Go with it. You got it.
So December 23rd.
Yes.
Okay, that was the day before everything started for us. So December 23rd, we went for our regular checkup. I was supposed to be 37 weeks the next day. So it was supposed to be a quick 15-minute visit, no big deal, reassurance before the holidays start. I go into this appointment and the nurse practitioner was feeling my stomach. And she was like, wow, you seem to be measuring small. And I was like, yeah, maybe. I was measuring a little bit on the small side and I'm a small girl, so it's no big deal, right?
Ayla was small.
Right, exactly. So I was like, okay. And then she's like, let's just do a quick ultrasound in office to see how small the baby is or if everything looks fine. So we do an ultrasound and the baby still looks small. And they said I was measuring about 34 weeks and I was supposed to be measuring about 37 weeks. And she was really like...
She was like, it was like borderline.
Right. So she's like, you're small. Let's just do an official ultrasound downstairs. No big deal. Let's just reassure everyone going into the holiday that the baby is supposed to be where they are. So me and Dylan are like, okay, sure. We go downstairs. We do the ultrasound. Honestly, after we left the ultrasound, I like forgot about the ultrasound. I was like, oh yeah, they're just gonna call us Monday or after the holidays, tell us the ultrasound looked perfectly fine. Were you concerned at all about the ultrasound?
Not really. I think we knew like they could tell from the ultrasound she was small, but they didn't think it was anything too unordinary because they said she was getting enough fluid, or whatever. So it seemed like your fluid wasn't low, so. Everything seemed to be fine from that standpoint. So that was like what we were most concerned about, I think.
Right.
But yeah.
Yeah.
So when we left, we were good.
Right. And so we get to Dylan's parents' house that night because everyone was getting ready for the holidays. And then I get a call around 6 p.m. and I'm like, oh, the hospital's calling me. It's probably just telling us that the ultrasound looks good. And it's the doctor on the phone and he's like, yeah, so pretty much you're either having this baby today or tomorrow. And honestly, as soon as he said that, I was like, okay, so this doesn't sound good. I immediately like start going into a panic mode and I was like, can you please wait 1 minute until I can get my husband? Because I'm already like crying and freaking out. What does that mean? I'm not ready for the baby. So I called Dylan over to really take over the phone call and hear what they were saying because it was just too much for me immediately. You
probably just like stopped listening after you heard that first
sentence.
Yeah, that first part.
Right.
So we talked to them for a while. Like we talked to the doctor. They gave us as much information as they could.
Right.
But I don't know. We were just trying to we didn't even know the right question to ask necessarily. We were just trying to figure out, okay, is it super urgent? Do we need to rush into this? Can we take a few days to think it over? Because I wanted to, make sure we weren't just rushing into something unnecessarily.
Right.
But they seemed pretty concerned and said that that basically the standard process would be either to come back that night or first thing in the morning.
Right. And they were saying that she was going to be, she seemed to be measuring less than 1%. And really,
Mm.
at that point of her being that small, then you're worried about, is the placenta not feeding the baby enough? Do you have enough fluids? And is that, is the baby better off growing outside or really staying inside? And really, that
Right.
was like that conclusion for us that, okay, so in the situation we're in right now, it seems like it's safer for the baby to continue its growth outside. And pretty much we get off the phone
And
call.
you were technically like just full term
right
at that point.
Right. And the next day I was going to be considered 37 weeks, which is really full term. So really, yeah, like you said, like it was that right decision of being like, okay, this makes sense for us to proceed with the risk that we're hearing over the phone, you know?
Right.
So we get off the phone. I'm still all over the place. Dylan will tell you about me and being at Target at 11:30 that night. Yeah.
I was trying to get us to go home. I was like, when I got the news, I was like, let's go home, get a good night's sleep, like eat a good meal, and like get some rest. Her thought process was like, let's go to Target at like 11:30 p.m.
Yes.
Let's pack up all this unnecessary things. That's kind of what it seemed like, but she won, so we went with her plan.
Right. And I feel like, honestly, in that moment, I just, being me, I wanted to be ready. And I thought I had 3 more weeks.
Right.
I didn't
you
have
were
the
supposed to have
babies.
your baby shower.
Right. The baby shower was in a week. I didn't have the bags packed. I didn't have what I needed to feel ready. So just that call was kind of like, oh my gosh, I'm not ready. Like, we need to get ready in the next 10 hours.
Right.
You know what I mean? And for you right there, like, you were just so supportive in terms of like, yeah, I know it's ridiculous that I'm trying to run to Target, but for my mental health at that point, at least having some control of getting to prep made me feel better. You know what I mean? And so that night we ended up going to my mom's house. She's only 5 minutes away from the hospital. So we were able to bring Ayla. And honestly, thank God for both of our families for really jumping in exactly at that point.
Because it was Christmas Eve. So pretty much everyone from the
everyone
families
was
were
around. Everyone was really around.
Yeah.
So we go to the hospital 6 a.m. and the nurse and the midwife check me, and interested enough, I was already 3 centimeters. So really, to me, it seems like my body was already going through that natural process of labor, and this baby was on its way coming. You know what I mean?
Probably coming early.
Right.
Regardless.
But once they put me on the monitor, they did see that the baby did have some decelerations where the heart rate was dropping low. And still with the concerns of my fluids being low, and just the baby measuring really small, the decision was to continue with the induction. And for you just being there and like, I mean, honestly, I don't think for a girl who has a lot to say, I don't think I said much. You know what I mean?
I think you were just focused on what you had to do.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, that was, we were obviously a little caught off guard, but we just had to, I mean, you did most of the work, but you just had to kind of go with what we thought was best at that time, and that's what it was. And then once we kind of like got our minds set that we are proceeding with this is what's happening, we're gonna go, we're gonna start the labor process. Like, I think from there we just tried to make it as normal as possible and enjoy it as much as possible. So.
And I think even just having the baby on the monitor and knowing like, okay, now we're in a monitored situation really helped calm us down. And and thank you for saying that, because really we still wanted to have a good labor experience. And yes, it wasn't going as planned. We got the baby mama dance. Check it out on.
That was like her criteria. She's like, we're gonna hit Target. We're gonna get the baby mama dance in.
We're gonna do it. And the nurse was so supportive because she's like, "Girl, you do your thing."
She was good.
So we got induced and we got Pitocin, which is pretty much medication that they give you to induce your labor. So your body still goes through contractions and labor, but this really gets it started. And I really was like, you know what? Like, Pitocin's going good. I feel my labor kicking in. Contractions were getting more frequent. And I was thinking, you know what? I might not need the epidural. Let me, not do the epidural, because with Ayla, I had the epidural and it really slowed down my labor. I went from 6 centimeters to 9, got the epidural, was in labor with Ayla for like, was stuck at 9 centimeters pretty much for hours and hours. And we really think it was because of the epidural. So this time I was like, I might try it without. And I can tell you right now, for me, I needed the epidural, and I would have gotten it earlier when we do this again.
Right. It's hard. I mean, it's always easy to look back and be like, what would I do differently? But I mean, we were just kind of doing what we thought was right.
Right.
At the time.
Right. And so we continue going. They broke my water. They broke my water probably around 4:45. And things moved quick because 4:45 they broke my water, and she was born at 6:22. So things went from, oh my goodness, I'm fine, to, oh my goodness, this is the worst pain of my life. Like, when I tell you, I like have to pause when I say it, because that was the worst pain of my life. I tried different methods. We were doing breathing techniques. We're doing all these techniques. And finally I was like, I need the epidural. And what ended up happening is I got the epidural, and I was already about to deliver Anaya. So pretty much the epidural did not help me zero. Did not help me at all.
Yeah. I mean, who knows? Maybe it helped a little bit. But
maybe it helped a little bit.
It seemed like it was like right before, so it didn't really have time to kick in.
The epidural probably right before 6, and she was born at 6:22. And really at that stage, epidural won't do much for your pain. You know what I mean? So yeah, but I think for me too, there was just a lot to take in. You know what I mean? Like, everything just kind of happened really fast.
It did.
Before we started the induction, the nurse was being kind of funny, and she was like, you're going to have this baby on my shift. And me and Dylan are like, no way. Once you're induced, it takes days, and it can take days. And we did have the baby during her shift. Yeah. Shout out to the best nurse ever, though. You know, she was excellent. Yeah, so she's I pushed for 7 minutes. I mean, I was, you know, really in pain. I'm screaming. And the nurse is like, okay, let's look. Let's see what's going on. And she goes, whoa, the baby's coming. So they called the midwife over the phone, and she didn't have time to go out there. They called the midwife over the phone. She came in, and here she comes, Anaya. She's beautiful, screaming. She's definitely over what they thought she was going to be.
She was bigger.
Yeah, what were they thinking she was going to be?
They thought like 4 pounds 8 ounces, but she was 5 pounds 4 ounces.
Yeah, she was 5 pounds 4 ounces.
So she was like technically like 10th percentile, so it's still small, but not like crazy small. Right.
And she like was born, she's screaming, she latched right on. Her APGARs were perfect. I mean, all these things that we were concerned about were definitely relieved. And this is really funny, but she literally lifts up my placenta. She goes, this looks like a healthy placenta to me. Yeah. I will never forget that from that midwife.
We haven't got those tests back yet. They sent the bills, but not the tests.
Oh, the bills. Having kids is expensive.
Facts.
Jeez.
Facts.
Jeez. So
you owe us.
You owe us, right? You're gonna do great things in life and pay us back. Right? Yeah, so after the baby was born, I feel like those worries that we had just were like relieved. Just seeing her.
We were there literally 24 hours.
24 hours.
Or a little, maybe a little bit over.
Yeah, I think we left around 7, and our 24. So they won't let you leave until 24 hours because there's some tests, delivery, right? There's some tests that have to be done 24 hours after the hearing test, the blood test for the baby. All these things have to be done after that 24-hour mark. So when it was time, we were like running out of there, and you know, for us,
we went and got Ayla.
Yeah,
came home, had a little Christmas
party, our own little
Christmas party
as a family of 4.
Yeah, it felt good. We just wanted to get home at that point,
right,
and like be able to settle in, right, and like relax,
right. And I think for us, for me, I was really concerned, like, oh my goodness, like, this is Ayla's last Christmas as being an only child. We were ready for her Christmas. Like, we had all these grand plans of how her Christmas was gonna go, but it ended up being so beautiful, like being a family of 4, and it worked out exactly how it was supposed to work out. Yeah. And you know, like, looking back now, some things that like I reflected on and have taken away from that situation is things don't always go as planned. Things really go how they are to go, right? And we can plan as much as we want, but things will go the way they're meant to be. And the importance of having support and a loving family and having you to advocate for me. And I always say, like, I'm in the medical profession. When such a situation happens, like, you kind of, you don't know anything. Like, I just felt like a patient. And for you asking all those questions you did and being, I call him that dad because he's the overly involved, asking every question kind of dad. You know what I mean?
I like to be informed.
Yes, he likes to be informed.
I mean, I was like, what else am I doing in that role?
Right.
You're the one. She's doing all the work.
Right.
Pushing, getting her body ready, having the baby.
Right.
I'm just there to like ask some questions, support.
Right.
Do what I can.
Do baby mama dancing and everything.
Exactly.
But I
make
think
her happy.
That support was everything I needed at that moment.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And I don't think it could have been done without that support and just having that person to advocate for me at the moment where I really needed that advocation and all that stuff really meant the world. So that's excellent. So until we do it again, until we have baby number 3. You know?
I said this after Ayla. I was like, well, I guess we did take some time. We took like 2 years. 2 years, but still, I'm like, man, 2 kids? That's enough work. 3? Then we're outnumbered. I don't know. We gotta think about this. We gotta sleep on it. We really gotta
right.
Figure
But
out
overall,
if we're willing to do that.
Overall, the experience was good. And like you said, when we were talking as we drove home from the hospital, in the situation that we're in, it was the best outcome, and it went as good.
We couldn't be mad about how it went.
Right.
At the end of the day. Right.
So here we are. We did our first episode. We did it. Like, subscribe, join.
We'll probably post another one in like 2 years.
No, we'll be posting another YouTube video in 1 week. You know what I mean? And I'm hoping the next topic will be how we met, so they can get to really know our family. And I'm loving this. I love this. I feel like for us, it's a good time for us to kind of talk about some things that you don't really get to talk about. You know what I mean? Yeah. And that sounds out loud. All right.